What's up, folks? Wanted to record a quick video today. We're had to change locations because our house is again going under renovations, and the office, we're redoing the trim everywhere, and the office is one of those locations. So we're over here by my bookshelf that needs some dusting off. But anyways, here we go. Wanted to make a quick video on the difference between pulling for powerlifting, that's the deadlift, conventional deadlift, sumo deadlift, and pulling for weightlifting. So pretty much every weightlifting movement, at least snatch and clean, involves a pull from the floor, aka you are lifting the weight from the floor. A way to say that is every lift is sort of like a deadlift. So I wanted to compare a deadlift for powerlifting and a deadlift for weightlifting. So I used to think that the pulling was very similar. Like, people had said, weightlifting, you're deadlifting from the floor every time you do a snatch or a clean. And I realize now, at the time, that's widely wrong. The pull for a conventional deadlift, or let's just stick with conventional since that's most similar to an Olympic weightlifting pull, the pulls are completely different. So if you're pulling for conventional, the goal for a conventional deadlift and powerlifting is to simply lift as much weight as possible. So one of the main differences you'll see in a conventional deadlift that you won't see in an Olympic weightlifting pull is the rounding of the thoracic spine. So the top of the back, and pretty much any really good deadlifter is going to have a slightly rounded upper back. And for powerlifting, that is something you actually want. Letting your upper back round a little bit is going to set the bar a little bit closer to the floor, which just means that as you pull, the bar is going to be slightly lower from your hips, which just means that you're not going to have to move the bar as far. So if I stand straight up, let's just say I'm like at the knee, if I round my upper back, that bar is going to be farther, or it's going to be closer to the floor, which means it's going to be easier to finish the lift. So you're actually, when you round your upper back slightly, and you might even keep your head super up, you're actually essentially squeezing your torso smaller. You're making it shorter that way because you're just slightly bending it. That's going to be easier to help get your hips through because your hips don't have to overcome as much length from the torso. So all in all, slightly rounded upper back is going to help a lifter lift more weight because the bar is going to stay a little bit closer to the floor, torso is going to shrink a little bit, and that's going to make it easier for a person to lift more weight. Also, with the conventional, the bar is going to start right up against your shins. You're going to wear flat shoes. What are some other things? You're going to be probably a little bit more heavy on the heel during a conventional deadlift because, again, the goal is you're not trying to get it past the hips at all. You're trying to just lock the hips out, get the shoulders behind the bar at the top, and stand up nice and straight with the hips and knees locked out. So weight's going to be a little bit heavier on the heels. Upper back is that's the biggest thing. Upper back's going to round a little bit more. Arms are going to stay long. Those are the big items right there. For an Olympic weightlifting pull, whether that's snatch or clean, or let's just say a snatch or clean deadlift, if you're from a training perspective, that would be an instance to load the weight up a little bit more than you would a snatch and clean just to gain some strength, but you want to keep the same positions you would in a snatch or clean. So what that is going to look like, the back's going to be super flat. The weight is going to be way more distributed evenly on the foot, so you might even feel a little bit more big toe than you otherwise wouldn't on a conventional deadlift. Arms going to stay long, but the upper back's going to stay, you want that to stay as tight and flat as possible because that's what's going to help you keep the bar close and help you transition into a full catch on a snatch or a full catch on a clean. If you start to round your upper back on a clean or on a snatch, that is going to completely screw up where the bar needs to be in certain positions. So if your upper back starts to round and it's time for you to start finishing your leg drive at the top, that bar's not going to be the place you want it. So if my upper back's rounded on a snatch and I start to round my upper back, that bar's going to stay lower, and then when I go to draw my legs, there's not going to be as good of a connection from finishing my legs, getting the bar projected upwards, and then to finish it overhead. So those are a few of the main differences. So let's just go over it real quick. Main difference between a conventional deadlift and a weightlifting pull is on a conventional deadlift, upper back's going to stay rounded a little bit, and so your upper back posture is just going to not be the same. Upper back's going to be rounded a little bit, maybe even mid back, maybe even a little bit of the lower back. A tailbone might even be kind of dropped underneath you a bit. So you're going to get an overall a little bit more curvature of the spine, which is okay because that's actually going to help you lift more weight. Just try it for yourself. If you try to pick up really heavy weight with the most flat back you can, conventional style, and then just get a little bit more roundedness from your upper back and see how much of a difference it is and how much it feels easier with a slightly rounded upper back. And then for Olympic weightlifting, the key is to maintain crucial upper back tightness, just overall a solid not upright, but a solid flat torso position. Also, shoulders are going to be pressed back a little bit more on an Olympic style pull because you need this good posture to transition into a snatch overhead or clean position. And then the weight distribution on the foot, you might see a little bit more heel heavy in a conventional deadlift, and you're going to be seeing a whole lot more in a weightlifting style deadlift. You want a nice flat foot position, and you don't want to rock back on the heels because that's going to screw up your weight distribution throughout the pull and typically results in the bar popping forward because you kind of get rocked back into the heels, and then to overcome that you kind of have to compensate by rocking too far forward in the heels. So that's the general gist of that. I just wanted to make this quick video because I think there might be some common misconceptions when first starting out because the pulls are completely different, and unless you're doing Olympic weightlifting and powerlifting combined, if you're an Olympic weightlifter, you want to deadlift like an Olympic weightlifter. You want to keep a good solid flat back position, upper back nice and tight. But if you're only doing powerlifting, you probably actually don't want much of that, unless maybe some accessories just for a little bit more movement variability. But that upper back roundedness is the big thing that's going to help you lift a little bit more weight from a conventional deadlift perspective. So that's all I got for you. If I missed anything, you think I missed anything, go ahead and drop that in the comments below. But other than that, just kind of wanted to get that out there because I think there's a few misconceptions. Until next time, toodaloo.